Next, we're going to talk about the blood vessels. Blood vessels are another part of the cardiovascular system. There are five different types of blood vessels. These are arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules, and veins. All these help blood flow around the body. First of all, I'm going to talk about the arteries and arterioles. Arteries are the big blood vessels which start the process of leaving the heart. They have thick walls which work by contracting and relaxing to send blood to all the body parts. The main artery of the heart is the aorta, which then splits into smaller vessels, which are called arterioles. The meaning of arterioles is little arteries. Artery walls consist of elastic cartilage and smooth muscle, which allows the blood to the vessels to expand and contract when it leaves, which then leads to the blood pressure along the length of the arteries. Arteries carry the blood away from the heart, and they carry oxygenated blood. I'm going to talk about the capillaries. Once the arteries and arterioles have divided, they will soon enough feed blood into the smallest blood vessels, which are capillaries. They are found all over the body, but are mainly in the muscles. The blood flows slowly through the capillaries, which allows diffusion to take place. Capillaries also pick up waste products such as carbon dioxide and lactic acid. Capillaries are also so small they can only contain blood vessels. Can only contain one blood cell. Next, I'm going to talk about veins and venules. Venules are made up of capillaries, eventually feed back into larger blood vessels. Venules are the smallest veins, but then venules eventually become veins. The wall of these veins is much thinner and weaker than the arteries, and their role is to carry blood back to the heart. The veins are usually acting against gravity, so made up of no return valves, so the blood does not flow back to the body once smooth muscles has relaxed. Veins carry deoxygenated blood. The last part of the cardiovascular system I'm going to talk about is the blood. The blood carries all the cells they need to import nutrients and the oxygen cells of the body. Blood also transports the following oxygen, glucose, proteins, fats, vitamins, hormones, enzymes, platelets, carbon dioxide, and electrolytes. Blood is made up of four different parts, which are red and white cells, platelets, and plasma. It is a high concentration of solids in it, so the thick gloopy substance of the blood is 45% plasma and 55% solids. The first part of the blood I'm going to talk about is the red blood cells. Of all the blood cells in your body, around 99% of them are red blood cells. These are the ones we need the most. They contain hemoglobin, which gives them the color of being red. The main role of the blood cells is to take oxygen and transport it to the muscles, which is why they contain hemoglobin. As hemoglobin has a attraction to oxygen. Next, I'm going to talk about the white blood cells. As there are fewer white blood cells in the blood cells, they are transparent. The role of the white blood cell is to fight infection and they are part of the body's immune system. They destroy bacteria inside of us and any other dangerous organisms. Dangerous organisms, which are then removes disease from our body. Next, I'm going to talk about platelets. The role of the platelets is to stop blood loss, and they do this by clotting. So, if you were to fall over and cut your knee, platelets will go to the wound and form a protective shell, and this is also known as a scab. The role of the platelets is to stop blood loss. They're made up of cells, but they're made up of parts of cells. But they're not made up of cells, but they're made up of parts of cells. They start by clotting. Start this by clotting. They are made up of cells, which are made up of part cells. I said that already. They start by trying to repair damaged tissue by becoming sticky when they make contact with the air. To enable them to clot, they also need a substance called factor VIII. Finally, I'm going to talk about plasma. It is a liquid part of the body and is straw-coloured. When you see it, it's part of where all solids are carried. Next, we're going to be talking about the cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system is a key system for footballers. This is because they are in constant movement, so their heart will need to be supplying oxygen for the rest of the body and for the muscles that are going to be working. They need to do this quickly and as efficiently as possible. So for the heart, for this to happen, the heart needs to be supplying blood quickly to the bottom half of the body. Also, when they get studded by someone else's football boots, then they can cut them, which means the blood will appear. But fortunately, the oxygen from the air will work with the platelets to help the blood clot to stop bleeding. So if I were to be playing football and I were to get tackled and cut my leg, as soon as the blood comes up, it will react with the oxygen and platelets will come to the top and form a sticky substance, and then solids will come to the top and then form a scab. The blood vessels help footballers by trying to get rid of the carbon dioxide, as well as we only need oxygen by getting rid of the lactic acid, as this could build up, which can cause injury, which is why a cool down is always necessary in a sport. So when we breathe in, the oxygen goes into our red blood cells, which is then carried around to the working muscles. So if I were to be playing rugby, my legs would be working quite hard. So my body would then send more red blood cells to my legs, so they can be working harder. And this also means when the red blood cells are leaving the muscles, so they've gone through diffusion, when they leave the muscles, they can take away any waste products such as lactic acid and carbon dioxide, which would affect my performance if the red blood cells didn't take them away. Next, I'm going to be talking about the respiratory system. This contains only one system, but like the heart, has many different parts. The main role of the respiratory system is to transport oxygen from the air to the body. It is used to produce energy along with the food we eat. The main use of this is to supply energy to the heart in order for it to pump the blood that we need and it also supplies energy to the working muscles, so we can do things like participate in sport and running. It is mainly made up of the lungs, which we all have two, but if the left one is smaller, then smaller, as it has to make room for the heart. For it to work efficiently, the left lung is smaller, so it can make room for the heart, which means we have to work more efficiently. When the body produces more energy, the amount of carbon dioxide increases in the body, which means that it will need to dissolve in water, so it becomes a weak acid. There are many types of respiratory system, so we're going to move on to that. There are many parts of the respiratory system. It is made up of tubes and the muscles which deliver the air we need for our lungs. I'm going to quickly cover function of gaseous exchange. So what you can see here is as the deoxygenated blood comes in, the CO2 comes out into the alveoli where gaseous exchange happens. There's like two slots which doesn't allow any backflow. So it comes through into here, goes through gaseous exchange. Once this has happened, it collects carbon dioxide from the lungs, which when we breathe in, like that, the blood is going through the alveoli and leaving out here where it says blood out, and then to the rest of the body. This happens every time we breathe in and every heartbeat. So all this blood is going through, then coming out, and then leaving to the rest of our body. This will increase if we were doing physical exercise. Say if I was in the gym and we're on a running machine, as I breathe faster, this whole process will get a lot quicker, as my heart is pumping a lot more, so the blood will be coming through a lot faster, which means more oxygen can be carried to the muscles which I'll be working, which in this instance is my legs. This has been George Riddell's Anatomy 3. The date is the 28th of the 6th, 2016. George Riddell is my name.